Let's learn how to muscle up. Hello humans, and welcome back to the Tao Way. I'm Antonio, and this is part 4 of the 4-part How to Muscle Up series. So we have already gone through the false grip hang, the false grip chin up, the transition of the muscle up, the dip, and the support. If you missed any of those videos, they will all be in the description down below. So if you missed them, go watch them and then come back to this video. So with this series, we went through all of the isolated pieces, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to put it together to actually pull your muscle up. So there are some prerequisites for this video, and here they are. So the first prerequisite would be 3 to 5 reps of the false grip chin up. If you don't have this video is probably not for you. You can watch it for information, but I would work on getting your false grip stronger. The second prerequisite is the dip. So we want to have 3 to 5 ring dips on here. If you don't have that, then you need to work on this, and then you can go into today's video. And the final prerequisite, the third prerequisite for this video, is you working that transition phase. So in the second part of the video, we talked about the transition phase. I would want you to be working on that transition phase for a few weeks. The reason is we can get that area strong and we can have a less chance of injury because your body's used to going into that range. So if you have these 3 prerequisites, then we can get on how to do the muscle up. So we are stronger in the eccentric more than the concentric. So that means lowering down is easier than pulling ourselves up. So we're gonna use this concept and learn how to muscle up by doing muscled up eccentrics. In this video, I'm going to give you 2 different progressions that you can use, and you can pick it based on you. Some people need to start with the first one. Some people can skip the first one and go straight to the second one. So see which one you are. But for both of these progressions, we have some parameters that we have to keep in check. Number 1, we want to start and end with straight arms. So that means we start in the support hold and end in the false grip hang with straight arms. And number 2, we want to have at least 10 seconds from the support down to the false grip hold. If we can get 15 to 20, this is even better. We want a long eccentric. And the third one is we want to keep the eccentric the same speed throughout. We do not want the first part to be very slow and then the transition to be very fast and then very slow. We want to keep everything the same speed. So if we have a 10-second eccentric, we want to have about 5 seconds up to the transition, then 5 seconds up to the false grip hang. So we have an even distribution. So the first progression we're going to get into is a muscle up negative with an assisted transition phase. So what we're going to do is we're going to get onto a ring, and you can use a chair to push yourself back up. We're going to lower the dip as slow as we can. Once we get to the transition phase, we're going to put our feet on a chair or a stool or the wall or something and use that to assist us. You can see in my first negative, the chair actually moves. This is excellent for your progress. If the chair moves, that means that you're putting too much pressure. One other thing to keep in mind is when we do the negative on the transition phase, we want to keep the rings as tight to our body as possible. So I want the ring to come down in the dip, then as I'm going over, the ring stays in contact with me, with me the entire time, and then I do the false grip negative. Okay, so we had the assisted transition. The next one would be a non-assisted transition. So everything stays the same, except you're not going to be using the chair for assistance. But what we are going to be doing is using a little bit of mechanical advantage to help us in the negative in the beginning. So we're going to start in the false grip hang, or the false grip hold. We're going to negative the dip nice and slow. Then once we get to the bottom of the dip, I'm going to push my knees up towards my chest, pull them up towards my chest, and now I'm going to perform the negative and then go down to the false grip. So the reason I pull the knees up is I'm creating a smaller center of gravity, and it makes that transition that much easier to slow down and to control. If I keep my legs straight, it'll be a little bit more hard on the system. And now for both of these, for the programming of it, One, we want to do anywhere from 10 up to 25 total reps. So you can break this down in just one sets, or you can cluster rep them however you can recover. And we want to use about 60 up to 120 seconds. I wouldn't do more than 120 seconds between the sets. And we'd want to eventually work up to that 25 reps with about a 10-second or more negative on the entire sequence. Now, usually if they can get to 20 or 25 total reps with good control with minimal rest, then they are ready to pull the muscle up. Here, I'm gonna give you some techniques that you can use to help you to pull your first muscle up. The first muscle up will probably not be totally strict and totally slow, but you will be using a little bit of a technique in the transition to help you. Now we're gonna see this technique in action. You can see when I pull, my legs are straight and they come up during the transition. This helps me to gain momentum and go into that transition and then push up. And it gives me a lower center of gravity, so it helps me to control that transition. Now, this is not a strict muscle up, but it is a progression towards it. You can't always get the thing that you want right when you want it. Here I just want you to see the action of the transition. So you can see first I hit my chest to the rings, then I push my shoulders forward, rotate the rings, and then I end in the bottom of the dip. So watch, I lean back, touch, move forward, and then there. Now let's go into the strict slow muscle up, okay? So once you've built up a little bit of momentum in the muscle up, and you can do 10 total reps, you can do 15 total reps, then you can try to slow it nice and slow. And here we want to keep the body relatively straight, and we're pulling up, transitioning slow, and going through the motion slow on the way up and on the way down. And that should get you to your full muscle up. So if you haven't watched the other videos, go through all those videos. You put in the work, put in the time, and use the techniques, use the information that I gave you, and you will get your first muscle up, okay? If you got your first muscle up from this video, let me know in the comments down below. And if you'd like to see a series on something else, let me know in the comments down below, okay? And that is the session.